News when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Amy Morris. And there's your closing bell for this Friday on Wall Street, where speculation the Iran war is poised to end sent risky assets surging, extending a month-long rally. Let's check those closing numbers for you. We do that for you each day here at Bloomberg. The S&P 500 is higher, gaining 85 points. NASDAQ up 366 points, and the Dow gained 869 points. That's about 1.75%. The 10-year Treasury yield at 4.24%, and the 2-year yield at 3.69%. Brent crude is now just shy of $91 a barrel, and West Texas Intermediate crude is topping $84 a barrel. This just crossing the Bloomberg terminal. Reuters is reporting Meta will lay off close to 8,000 employees in an initial round of cuts coming on May 20th, and that the company is planning more cuts in the second half of the year. The timing and size of those have not been decided. Meta shares right now 2% higher in regular trading. President Trump says Iran has agreed to suspend its nuclear program indefinitely and will not receive any frozen funds from the U.S. Trump spoke with Bloomberg News reporter Kate Sullivan by phone.
Axios had a report saying that perhaps $20 billion in frozen funds would be released. The president was very stern on this, was very to the point. He said, no. And then I said, are you going to release any funds at all? He said, no. So he's very clear on that.
Bloomberg's Kate Sullivan traveling with the president. Trump added that talks over a lasting agreement will probably be held this weekend, but he has not decided who will lead the delegation. The Wall Street Journal quotes sources saying those talks will likely happen on Monday. Iran has yet to comment on any deal beyond the Hormuz opening. Iran did say the strait is now open for commercial traffic for the duration of a 10-day ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah in Lebanon. President Trump says the U.S. naval blockade will remain in full force until a deal is fully reached, but Iran says if that's the case, the strait will stay closed. IMF Managing Director Kristalina Georgieva, during a press briefing at the IMF spring meeting in Washington, says this is a start.
This is a positive development. These kinds of signals help to reduce anxiety and uncertainty somewhat, but they are not eliminating it.
Bloomberg National Security Team Leader Nick Wadham says this is not over yet.
We have a sort of vibe check that suggests things are headed in the right direction, but no definitive agreement. We have no piece of paper that we can actually look at that says, okay, here's what the two sides agreed to.
Bloomberg National Security Team Leader Nick Wadhams. Now, Iran says the ships passing through the strait need to coordinate with Iran's Revolutionary Guard, and military ships are still banned. That's left ship owners and traders wary because of the lack of detail and ongoing concerns about safety and navigation. Bloomberg spoke to more than a dozen ship owners, agents, brokers, and traders. Most say they're waiting to see how this works out in practice. Bob McNally is president of Rapidan Energy.
This is a nightmare that no one thought was possible, and they can't believe is happening, and traders just want it to stop. And so this is a market that's responsive. I think it's unwarranted. Unless we have a real breakthrough here this weekend, I think it's going to reverse, and we have to deal with that.
Rapidan Energy President Bob McNally on balance of power. Fed Governor Christopher Waller says he's cautious about the need to lower interest rates in the near term because of the energy shock triggered by the war in Iran. He warned of the risk of a prolonged impact on inflation because of the conflict.
For inflation, the risk is that the longer the conflict drags on and energy prices remain high, the more likely it is that these elevated prices will start to bleed into other prices. This will start affecting firms' input costs, which then get passed along to consumers.
Fed Governor Christopher Waller spoke at Auburn University. Cursor, a leading AI startup for coding, is reportedly in advanced talks with investors to raise about $2 billion in a funding round at a valuation of more than $50 billion. Sources tell Bloomberg NVIDIA plans to participate in that financing, and Andreessen Horowitz is set to co-lead the funding round. Thrive Capital is also reportedly in talks to participate. Those discussions are ongoing and the terms could change. Cursor has declined to comment. That's news when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Amy Morris, and this is Bloomberg.